This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so I am audible. So hi guys, my name is Sajil, and I'm going to take a session on Salesforce CPQ. Okay, so I'm well audible, right, to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I think everybody has had the chance to go through the first session of Salesforce CPQ, right? Wherein I have explained about what Salesforce CPQ is and what exactly is the flow of CPQ, like how the business process goes for the Salesforce CPQ, and the three terms. This, what are the CP and Q in CPQ, and how exactly is it used in the real world. So these are the topics that we covered in the previous sessions, and we also went through quickly on what are the different concepts that is there in CPQ. For example, what is a product, what is a bundle, and what are the different features that they provide. For example, there are search filters, there are bundles, and then there are product rules, there are price rules. So we just quickly went through all these topics. So now we're going to dive deeper into this topic, and we are going to take one concept, and we are going to make sure that we understand it thoroughly, not just practically, but also in a business sense, on why exactly we have this feature, and how do we use that in a real world scenario. And whenever we are in a project, how each concept has to be used. So this is what we're going to dive into now. So one of the key features of CPQ, if I have to start with, is that it helps you to organize the whole business process. So when I say organize, uh, it's a very generic term. When I have to say organize, organize could be anything. It could be by keeping it in a systematic way, or setting up business rules, and so many other things are there. So, but then what Salesforce CPQ does is it actually gives the user, the admin, the option to make sure that the exact business process. So if you guys have ever seen these sales trainings, okay, so basically what they do is they they have to explain, and they have to make each and every sales representative understand what exactly is the business process, and what are the rules that they have. When I say rules, what I mean is there are different uh, products that client offers, so how to sell it. And for example, if there is a product A, then there has to be product B, C, and D that has to be sold with it. And there are some products that has that should not be sold, and various other rules that are there. So this is the whole business. It's a very real world scenario wherein there are rules, and the sales rep has to follow it. But then why we are using CPQ is to eradicate that mistakes that could happen from a sales rep. For example, it has been told to him that, okay, so this is the set of rules that you have to follow, and make sure that the customer is happy, and you provide some extra discount, or you give them, for a particular region you give them at a lower cost, or for a particular customer you don't have to charge a surcharge, and so many other things. So what CPQ does is it stores these rules, so that the sales rep, in case if he forgets, there is always the system guides him to through the entire sales process. So this is what CPQ does. So to start off with, the whole Salesforce CPQ building, one of the most important feature, or one of the most important concept that is the base of CPQ, is called as bundles. So product bundles is a very important topic, because the whole CPQ logic, the whole business rule is built on the bundle. So whenever you go to a client and they say that, okay, we want to implement CPQ for a business, and they explain you the products that they have and how these products are sold. So when you go into a project in the real world, it is very important you understand how the products are sold and how that logic or that rule of the product can be put into the system directly. Okay, so bundle is nothing but you are kind of grouping the products together that belong to a particular business rule. For example, if I am selling if I'm selling a product, for example, if I'm selling a computer, then I have to make sure that when I am selling the computer, there are other things that can be sold that are sellable that might increase my revenue if I sell it together. For example, if I have a desktop, then I can make sure that I sell a printer, I sell, uh, you know, all other things along with it, which that customer might buy at that time. And also when it comes to printer, then I have the option to make sure that I sell things along with it, like the toner, the cartridge, the either papers, the paper tray, and all these things are something that can be sold when I'm selling the printer. So these things are all bundled together. So this is the basic concept of bundling, wherein you try to group all set of products that should be part of part of your sale. So this helps the sales rep to select a particular product and also the related set of products. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look into the system and see what exactly a bundle is and how to configure a bundle.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Vishal. I'm not able to see the screen actually.
Yeah,
It's
I've not
all
shared
blue.
it. I was just explaining it, and then I would, yeah,
Okay, I
I've
got you.
not shared my screen yet. You don't have to worry.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Okay, so now I've just logged in. Let me share my screen. Hey guys, can you see my screen now?
Yeah,
Okay, okay. So this is a very basic training org that we have. So have you guys, created your own training org? You go to Trailhead and there is an option to create a training org for CPQ. So what I would suggest is going, if today you guys can go, or I'll send out that link if you guys need it, and you guys can go and create a training org. And whatever we are doing, if you guys can practice it, I will give you kind of a exercises that you guys can do at the end of the day once you're done, and maybe then we can come back tomorrow and go through it. And if you face any difficulties, we can discuss it again. So that's how this session would go like. So what I would suggest is if you guys can create this training org. So this is what Salesforce offers. Yeah. So this is what Salesforce offers, and they have a lot of dummy products and lot of dummy codes and opportunities which you can use for the practice. Okay. So now when I talk about bundling, there are a couple of objects that come into the picture. Okay. So the first object that come into the picture is product 2, which is a standard object. This is not just a CPQ object, this is a Salesforce object as well. You guys might be aware. Okay. So if I have to take this, for example, let's take this product. So the various things that we're going to deal with today is one of them is product, another is product option, and the next one is features. Okay, so I'll explain each of these things. So the product is nothing but the actual main product that the sales rep would sell. So this is how a product looks like, and then there is a separate section for Salesforce CPQ configuration, and these are all the CPQ fields. So there are various features that each of these fields provide. These are all related to CPQ, and we'll go to them one by one gradually. Okay, so this is how a product looks like. So let's do one thing. Let's see how this product would look like in the yeah. So let's see how this product is now set up. So I'll go to edit lines, add products. The product that I selected was laptop 10 inch. Select this product. I will see that how this product has been bundled. So I can see that there is processor, there is memory, and there is storage. So from this, there is the processor is nothing but what is called as a feature, and these are the product options under that feature. Then you have memory, which is the feature again, and then these are the product options under memory, and then we have storage, and these are the product options that are available under storage. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is let's see how this was actually made. Okay, so we will try to add one more storage to this particular feature. Okay, so we'll add one more product option. So what we're going to do is I have my 15-inch product over here. So I'll go to options. I'll create a new option and I'll select the product that should be here. So let me put in SSD. So I already have 256 and 512. So let me also offer 128. And this would come under storage. So this is the feature where I'm selecting. So there is a lookup to the feature. So this feature is already created. So we'll come to that as well. Okay, and here I set the number. So number is nothing but the order in which it should be displayed. So I already have 256, I have 512, and I have 128. So I'll put this at 30. Minimum quantity. Okay. Okay. So I have these things. I have created a product option now. Let me go to laptop 15 inch. If I go back, I can see that I just added this one. This is the product that I added, SSD 128. So this is how you add a new product option to an existing feature. Okay. So now let's do one thing. Let's go to the products. And let's add some miscellaneous products to this main laptop 15 products. So we'll add one more bundle. So to create that bundle, what I will do is I will go to the product. This is the same product. Now we are going to the new object which is called as feature. So I will click on feature, and I'm going to enter something like miscellaneous. Let this come at the last. So I'll come put something like 80. And I'm going to select this as click. So there are three different options available here. So this is a very important pick list that we have. So click is basically the UI that you just saw, right? Wherein I can directly select this, correct? So this is something that is available through click. And when I say add, what I will have is instead of these products, I will have an hyperlink over there. I click on hyperlink, something like add products or something. And when I click on the hyperlink, after that, I will select the products. The last option is something we will uh, take it up later in the session. Okay, so the main difference is between click and add. Okay, so I have my feature created now. Let me click save. Now I'm going to try and add a few options into this new feature that we created, which is the miscellaneous feature. So let me add a camera. Maybe I'm going to add a digital camera over here. This would be the first one. So let's put it as 10. I'll select the feature, which is nothing but miscellaneous. And I'm going to click save. Let me click and save and add new. Let's add one more. Let's add a laser printer. This would be 20. And this is again miscellaneous. And we click on save. So what did I do now? I created a new feature onto the laptop 15-inch product that is already being sold to the customers. It already has 4 features, as I already discussed. So the first one was processor, then memory, then storage, and then we added on another one, which is called as miscellaneous. Now I will go back. I will click on add products. and I can see that I have this new feature which is called as miscellaneous, which we just created right now, and I had added two products. One is digital camera and one is laser printer. Okay, so this is how you create a feature and how you add products to it. So this is how bundling happens. So basically, if you have to understand why exactly are we doing this. So whenever suppose we don't have this, okay, let's imagine that we don't have this entire feature of bundling. So what happens is I will go to product. So what I directly see is I'm a sales rep right now and I see that okay, the customer wants a 15-inch laptop. So I select that product, and then in back of my mind I have to remember that okay, there are things like the processor, the memory, the storage, and few miscellaneous products that I can sell along with it. So I might remember to sell a processor, I might sell to remember a memory, but then definitely there are chances that I might remember okay, there is storage as well, or there is some other products as well that I can sell. So this is actually going to cause a revenue loss to the company, because these are the products which is actually there is a possibility that they could buy it and it could have been sold, but then since the sales rep did not remember it, it was not sold. Okay, so that is why we have this whole feature. So right now what is happening is the sales rep does not have to think of anything. He just has to follow the system, whatever the rules that has been set in the system. He can directly go in and he can see that okay, these are all, and if you see the difference, these are all radio buttons, means you can only have one of these. But then when I selected the miscellaneous, I kept these check boxes wherein I can select, I should at least select one, but then I can select two as well. Okay, so this is the basic of how you create a bundle. Now one of the business scenario is that I have a lot of products in the system, but then I am not sure how, which of these products should be bundled, because based on the region there are, or based on the customer, there are a lot of things that the customer might buy, he might not buy. And also if I want, and also there are possibility where I can introduce new products to that option. So every time to go back, create a feature and create a product option is a little difficult thing. So what I'm going to do is, there is another feature that is available, another uh, concept which is called as dynamic bundles. So this is a very important concept, and this is very vastly used in the real world projects. So make sure that you guys, if you have any questions, you ask me. But then till now, I hope whatever is been explained related to bundles, features, and product options is clear for everybody. Okay. So now we will go and see how a product bundle is used through dynamic bundling. Okay, so let's take the same product, since we've been working on 15-inch laptop from quite some while. So let's take up, we'll create a new feature for this. And what I'm going to do is, the business scenario is I want to sell a few softwares along with this. Okay, let me add in a feature name called software. Let's make sure this comes up at so let me put this somewhere in between. So I'll keep this as 25. The important part is the option selection method. We will keep it as dynamic. So I showed you how click looks like. I told you how ad would look like, and this is dynamic, which we're going to see right now. So I'm going to click save. So I have a new product feature now. Now what I'm going to do is I have to create a product rule. So I'll create a new product. This is going to be my software dynamic bundle. The type would be filter because I just want to filter out or sort out these products. This would be active, conditions would be all, and the scope of this would be product. Evaluation event will be always. Okay, so I'll repeat that once again. Here I've entered the product rule name. The type of the rule is a filter because I just want to filter out or sort out few products based on some conditions. And these conditions has to be met all the time. The scope of this rule is only for the products, the product object, and this evaluation event is always. So I click on save. So I have my software dynamic bundle rule created. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an action. So under product rule, we already have a related object called as product option. So over here, what I'm going to do is I already have the rule here. This would be of type, but there are a lot of options available: add, remove, enable. So these are all things that you can set up using a product rule. We will come to all these scenarios one by one when we look into product rule in detail. But right now we are focusing on dynamic bundles. So I have this option called as default filter. My product would be none, and I have this filter field over here. I have, so one thing guys you have to notice here is this is a custom field which I have created on the product object, and I have put it uh, in this pick list called as filter field. So basically what CPQ offers is they have these standard set of fields which is already there, but based on your requirement, based on your customization, what you can do always is you can go to this object. So I'll show you, but then I'm just telling you once again that you can go to this pick list field and you can add a field over here, and you can use that field for evaluation. So what my condition says is filter field equals software. That's it. So I have my product action ready. Now what I want to do is I want to assign this configuration rule. Okay. So that's why I have to configure this. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign this to the product called as laptop 15 inch, and my feature would be software. So now what did I do? I created a product rule, I created a product action, and now I'm creating a configuration rule wherein I am assigning the product as well as the product feature. Okay, I click on save. Okay, so I have this ready. So before that, okay, so I have my, we'll go through the rule once again. So my product rule says that it is type filter, it is scope, product, evaluation event is always. I have my product action wherein I have set up the type as default filter. I selected my product over there. And then I have my configuration rule wherein I have selected my product as well as my product feature. So now when I go back and I select laptop, in this is what I already had, and then I wanted to put this somewhere in the top. So I had put number as 25. So it came between 20 and 30. So that is 25 right here. So that is correct. And I have this new dynamic bundle that I created. So if you see, you remember we saw click and add in the option selection method, right? So click is this one. And when you select add, this is how it would look like. And also when you select dynamic, this is how it would look like. So I click on add products. And what I see is I did not add these products manually into the product option, right? I did not go to that feature software and add this manually as I did for the miscellaneous feature. Over here, what I did is I put in my rule. So I'll show you how this rule is helping you get these products. So basically what has happened is my rule says that, okay, filter out the products based on the conditions. When all the conditions are met, my condition says product action says that this is my rule. For that, put a default filter wherein show me all the products whose product family equals software. So this is the rule, only rule that I created, which says show me all the products whose product family. So product family is nothing but a pick list on the product. So let's take the same product that we saw, and you can see that the product family, this is the field we are referring to. Okay. So my product family is hardware for this 15-inch laptop, but then my product option says sort out or bundle out all the products in the system which has product family as software. So right now I've used product family as an example, but you can use any fields as per the business scenario. It could be state, it could be any other product. For example, I have had scenarios wherein, one of the general scenarios that we get is to sort out the products based on, for example, the state. So what I would do is I have somewhere a field called as city on the product, and I would create a rule to show me only the products that belongs to this city. So basically what will happen is my dynamic bundle will only show the products that is there, that is available for that city. So that is just an example, but then yeah, let's come back to our example wherein my product family should only be software. And the next thing that I created is a configuration rule. So what my configuration rule does is, okay, so I created a product rule. I have a product action in it. Let me assign it to this product. Where inside the product? Okay, I have a feature which is called as software, and I want this rule to be applied on this feature. Okay, so this is how the rule gets applied. Now, if I have to go back to my code, I can see that these are the products that has product family as software. So for example, imagine that the business plans to introduce two more softwares into the system. Now they don't have to change anything. The only thing they have to do is they just have to introduce two product records into this object, the product to object, and it will automatically come here, right? So it saves the time of creating a product option associating with software feature again. That saves a lot of time. So what dynamic bundle does is it's a generic way of setting up a bundle based on some conditions. So it keeps on changing. For example, if they plan to take out productivity suite in future, they just have to remove this product from the system, and it will automatically have two options only. It will only have cloud storage 1 GB and creativity suite license. If they want to introduce two more software, they just have to add it in the system, and the system will automatically take these products and make it available for the software feature of 15-inch laptop. Okay, so this is how dynamic bundle will work. Now I'm going to show you how that product action, there was one part in the product action that is very important, and that is something that Salesforce offers, is I have this product option. Now when I gave you an example of having a city, what I need to do is I have to make sure that my product has a custom field called a city, but then I need to get it over here. So what I need to do is I go to the object, I click on fields and relationships. This is my filter field. This is a pick list, and I can add products over here. So basically this is a pick list, and I can add any number of pick list values over here, using which I can filter out. So I just have to add the API name. So I'm just going to add the API name which is there on the product, using which I want to filter this out. I want to use this as a filter field. Okay, so most of these uh, features that Salesforce CPQ offers, you have this option of adding your own custom object or custom field. But then when it comes to product action, it provides two things: product and quote. These are the two objects that you can deal with, but then you cannot change things over there. You cannot add another custom object, but then a field is something that you can always add. So you just have to come to this product action object, come to filter field, and you just have to you add another field over here, and that's it. It would start working. Okay, so when I say dynamic bundle, this is a very important
One
topic.
question here. So
Yeah,
you said
sorry.
we cannot add any custom object in CPQ?
No, you can add in CPQ, but then when it came to product action, right?
Okay,
Just that product action object over there, you cannot add an object, but then you can add fields to the objects they provide. That is quote and product.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So when I say dynamic bundles, this is a very important topic when it comes to Salesforce CPQ. Not just dynamic bundles, but bundle as a whole. The reason I'm saying is the entire set of rules that you're going to create in future, right? For example, the product rules on top of it, the price rules, and the search filters, and all these concepts are going to be built on top of your bundle. So bundle is kind of going to be your base. So you have to make sure that it is correct. There have been scenarios where uh, if you put in the bundles wrong, you won't be able to put in the product rules or price rules correctly. And then you realize it in a later stage of the project, and then you come back and then you have to change this whole bundle that has been set up, which is a very tedious task. So it is always preferred that you spend time, you understand the requirement, and also understand that what kind of a bundle it should be just a normal bundle, or should it be a dynamic bundle. That is something you have to analyze and make the right decision, after which you create your rules and all the business rules. You have search filters, you have product rules, you have price rules. All of these things come on top of your bundle.
One question here. So when it
Hmm.
comes to implement CPQ at a client site, right?
Right.
So if they are giving us requirement, and let's say the very first role comes to like implementation consultant is there, or a
Okay.
business analyst is there,
Correct.
and right, and as further down the line there are developers and the rest of the team.
Right.
So when you're explaining these creating product bundles, right, where we are using options and features for a
Mhm.
product,
Correct.
right? So what kind of requirements they are going to give as an example, and whose role it would be who will be creating those features and option as a product bundle, and after that creating a product rule and then configuring that product rule to link to a product bundle so that later on whenever we add a product like you shown an example of dynamic rule, right?
Correct.
So what would be the sequence there and whose role it would be? Because it looks like that if a client is getting Salesforce CPQ implemented,
Uh-huh.
so they have an operational guy who will be implementing this. So as a business analyst, what would be BA or implementation consultant role, and where that development portion would come if it comes based on some requirement which is not like available out of this top of the shelf features of
Okay.
CPQ.
CPQ. Okay. Okay. So I'll explain how this, when it comes to hierarchy, how things go with the project. Okay. So the
Right.
first person that would be involved would be uh, the solution architect. So basically, we'll keep client at one side. Client is someone who's going to tell you what they need. But then after that, you have a solution architect who's going to decide the complete architecture of the project. Not
Okay.
like he would be someone who would suggest to the client that, okay, after seeing the requirement that you have, I think you should go for Salesforce CPQ. Okay, so the someone who gives a the bigger picture of the project, wherein he knows about each and every applications available in the market and suggesting the right one to the customer. Okay,
Okay.
so I'll give you an example with one of the recent projects that I was guiding. So over there, what had happened is they had CPQ implemented. So the architect told that, okay, let's have CPQ, and then they had all these data, these products that you see, right? It was coming from a very old database of theirs. The company had a very old database, and
Mm-hmm.
it was coming in millions. There were millions of products for various states across North America.
Okay.
Okay, so what they wanted is the architect had to decide that how these products would come into the system, into Salesforce. So and they told that once a week there is always a new product that gets introduced.
Okay.
So it would be a very so the architect has to think that how it becomes user friendly for the customer, for the client to maintain it. Okay, so now you imagine the situation where there are initially close to 2 million products, and there is a possibility of 10 to 20 products coming into the system every week. So using data loader given by Salesforce would not be a very good option, because it's a manual work, right? It's an admin. The customer has to pay for the admin. He has to keep a full-time admin to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that the data is stabilized, which is again, uh, you spend money, that is one thing, and there is dependency on the resource, right? And if it goes wrong, for example, if he loads data at some point, it could actually blow up the whole system that you've built.
Mm-hmm.
Because I told you, right, product is going to be the base of CPQ.
Right.
So the architect came with a solution that, okay, let's do one thing. Let's bring in a ETL into the solution.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you guys are aware of ETL, ETL is nothing but you have these products called as MuleSoft and Informatica,
Right,
helps you to move data from one system to other.
right.
So we have these mappings wherein you map your Salesforce object with the with the legacy database system, and you can set timings over there that okay, once a week you run this job to push in all the products, all the data from my legacy database to the Salesforce system.
Okay,
Okay, so these things are done by the architect, is to get in the right solution and the most feasible solution based on the client requirement. Then the next person who is going to play a major role is the business analyst. So what the business analyst is going to do is he's going to sit with the stakeholders, he's going to sit with the clients, and he's going to understand how exactly the system should work. So basically, he would have a technical person from the client side, and he would also have a business guy from the client side. The technical person would explain him how the system should work, what are the different databases that they have in the system, and how it should be set up in Salesforce. And the technical and the non-technical guy, the business guy from the client, would tell him that how the customer would use the system so that he can decide on the requirements. So business analyst is the one who's going to give you the requirements. So if you guys have heard of Jira, right?
hmm,
Jira is wherein you put in all the requirements, wherein you create the user stories, you
hmm.
give the points, and then it's been assigned to the developers. So the business analyst is someone who's going to sit with the client. So the client says, okay, I have so many products, and this is how it should be. So he's going to sit there and he's going to decide, okay, I have these many products and I have to get this set up. So the role partially, deciding whether it should be a dynamic bundle or what is something that the business analyst would take a call along with the developer. So he would just set up the requirement in the user story that this is, I have to have these products bundled up. Now, as a developer, now the third person who comes up is a developer. So he would decide that how to do that user story. So he would discuss, he would understand that user story in detail, and then he has to suggest that okay, these are the options that I have. I can either create a feature and an option, or I can have it dynamic so that since there are products coming up, in the example that I gave you with ETL. So
Hmm.
since there are products coming up every week, I would not suggest keeping it as a feature and option. I would keep it as a dynamic bundle so that whenever a new product is getting introduced, it can automatically dynamically come into that respective feature. So this is a
Okay,
call that the developer suggests the the developer would suggest to the business analyst. They would decide and implement it. But the implementation, creating the feature, creating the product rule and the configuration rule is all that the developer does. So
okay.
this is how a project, this is how it goes on.
So CPQ doesn't have much to create that like custom objects and custom fields, or we developer also do that,
No, no. So when I'm a developer, so suppose the business analyst gives me a requirement. So requirement could be anything. I'll give you a scenario. Whenever the client sits, he does not know what CPQ offers,
right?
right? For him, CPQ is a new product, but then he knows that okay, this is going to solve my business problem.
Hmm.
So he's going to give you requirements which could be out of the box in Salesforce, or it could have it has to be customized.
Okay,
So yeah, so there could be scenarios wherein there would be a combination of customization, wherein you create a custom object, you do some customization, and you merge it with the Salesforce CPQ features.
okay,
Okay, so there are scenarios like that as well, because you never know what the client wants, but then it is you who have to decide that okay, this is something that would come from Salesforce CPQ, and then I have to do a 20% customization to get this requirement done.
so let me ask you this. If they have a legacy system,
Uh-huh.
if a client is already having legacy system where they have all these products and features, they
Right.
they might already have some kind of bundles, features, options, and product rules to sell, or Currently, when CPQ was introduced, before that there was no software which was offering this.
No, so in the legacy system, they would have handled this using tables. So basically, what they might have done is they might have created multiple tables
Hmm.
and queried, using sockets to get these bundling done. But then, so there are two scenarios in this. One is the client already had this organized and he want to replicate the same legacy system into the Salesforce system.
Hmm.
So that time it goes little easier for you because you already have what exactly needs to be done. But then there are scenarios wherein they had it in a broader spectrum. They don't have features. They never use bundles. Like bundling is, when I say in terms of Salesforce CPQ, it is one thing, but in the actual world, bundling is a very common concept. If you
Right.
even if you yeah, so there are possibility that the system was old, so they did not bundle it. So then you have to sit with the BA has to sit with the customer and understand that okay, what are the products that can be bundled together. We have this feature in CPQ, so I think we should go for this. We should go for dynamic bundle because it would be easier for maintenance, and you don't have to worry about creating a feature and an option every time a new product is introduced. It will automatically get assigned because of the dynamic bundles.
So before CPQ was introduced within Salesforce,
Hmm.
Sales Cloud was, or Marketing Cloud was, how they were selling the products. Because when you go to Sales Cloud, products
Correct.
products doesn't come there at all, right?
Correct.
So what was the usage of that? So at that time, there was a custom object created.
No, no. So if you've seen the Sales Cloud, when you click, when you have an opportunity, on that opportunity you have the option to add products to that opportunity.
Right.
Correct. But then only thing that was missing over there is if ever you have to have any of these business rules, it would all be customization. Like if you want to make sure that like how we did, right? We want to make sure that okay, there has to be one product selected, there has to be multiple check boxes, and all these things that was easily configurable in CPQ. It's in the real world for Sales Cloud, it would have been a custom VF or a custom Lightning component, and then you would have had to in the back end you would have had to handle that okay, this is one product, and then I would have queried and showed the rest of the bundle, and then the radio button and the check boxes and all these things are something that I would have created manually using my code.
Okay.
Yeah, but then this one saves a lot of time because this is something that is already there and you just have to configure it on just a point and click, and then that's it, you have it on the screen.
So at that time, when opportunity was created and products were added, at that time, quotes were not there part of the sales process, right?
No, quote was there. There was a custom object called as quote. Sorry, a standard object called as quote, and this quote, if you see the API name, right,
Mm-hmm.
this is sbqq underscore quote. So this is the CPQ code. But then if you go into your Sales Cloud, Salesforce org, right, you can see that over there also there is a quote.
Okay.
Yeah. But then there is a vast difference of what that standard quote offers and what the CPQ quote offers, because there are a lot of inbuilt features in this CPQ quotes wherein you can directly create an order on just selection of a checkbox and so many other things that has been introduced into this quote.
So if there is a new client, and they are trying to do this Salesforce implementation,
Uh-huh.
do do you think that we can skip the Sales Cloud and we can directly propose the Salesforce CPQ, which will offer everything?
But then it depends on the user requirement. For example, if I don't have any of these business rules, for me it's just a basic thing. I have less number of products. For example, I have 50 products, and
Mm-hmm.
there is no segregation, there is no rules. I just can go to opportunity and add that product,
Mm-hmm.
and I can finish it. I can finish my sales process. So the customer would never agree to pay for the sales for CPQ, right? Because it's not solving anything for him. But in a case where there are complex logic and so many other things, then you can tell him that, okay, this is something that Salesforce CPQ offers, and you can go for this product, and he would buy it if if it actually solves the problem.
Okay. Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to know that if customer is asking for scenarios, means they have some data about their
Uh-huh.
product, and they
Okay.
are asking for scenarios that we want to showcase our different kind of scenario to our customers. So these scenarios can be created in Salesforce CPQ, right?
Correct. You can. So this
Different type of scenario.
different type of scenarios you can create.
Okay. And this can be means these different type of scenarios are saved in one code, or it is saved in different codes, or what kind of things?
No. So these things, whatever we did right now, right? For example, the
Yeah.
bundles and the dynamic bundles, this is not code specific. This is something that we have put it in the system. So whichever code you select, this feature is going to be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mean that when we create a code, we can pick up any of that bundle?
Right. So right now in the system, we have not added any rules to show different products, right? But then there is a concept called as search filters, which allows you to filter out the products based on the code. So we have not come to that topic. So right now in the system, whatever we have implemented, the bundles, the dynamic bundles, this is available for every code.
So now one more question. Like
Yeah,
when we're creating, as the other guy asked, like, okay, we can share this with the client. So when we
correct.
share with the client, like if it is a B2B, I'm a
Uh-huh.
pharmaceutical company and I'm a wholesaler, or
Okay.
I'm a manufacturer, and I want to share with my dealers that, okay, if you buy 10 of these products, this is the code
Uh-huh.
if you want to buy. So that time, because this is not an online or e-commerce, sales commerce, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, so for that, there'll be a notification sent as part of that creating a code. That code will be sent to that retailer, or how we gonna share this information with the customer, like from B2B perspective. Like
Uh,
let's assume that this computer hardware which you explain us, right? So we
right.
created 5 bundles, and
Mm-hmm.
there's an institution which is like let's say as a university where we want to sell this and send codes to. So how we gonna share that too? Like there must be account and opportunity, right? The same way we gonna select this product bundle there and send it across via email notification or so, because this is not a commerce cloud, right?
Correct. So I'll explain that to you. So basically, whatever uh, you mean to say that on the code, once I select that product, how
Hmm.
do I send that code to the customer, right?
Right.
Right. So on the code, if I select this code, right, what happens is whatever I select is comes in as code lines. Okay, then I have this button called as generate document, where I generate this document and I get a new record in the code documents, and then I can just email it to my customer. So basically, how this would look like is this is how a code document looks. So this is something uh, that is already there in the system. So for example, I bought a doorbell camera, I bought an exterior camera, I bought a home security monitoring, I bought a door sensor.
Hmm.
Okay, so I have these things in the system. This is what I bought, and this is something I'm going to send to my customer, that this is the quotation. Please look through this. This is the total cost, and you can sign it and send it back. But then, based on the client requirement, you can always modify this template.
Hmm.
This is customizable. This is so the template that I'm showing you is something that was already there in the system, but usually you create your own based on the clients. Client would give you a template, and you have to create it inside CPQ.
So when we are talking about B2B or B2B, let's say B2B, wholesale to retail or manufacturing to wholesale, at that
Mm-hmm.
time when sending these quotes,
Correct.
right, and customer response back to these, that will be via email system, right,
Correct.
or
Email
or,
system.
or over the phone, whatever the process. But
Correct.
that's not on that what you call that commerce.
No, no, no. It's not on the comments. Then it would be something that you can automate, not provided by Salesforce CPQ. Till sending out the email, Salesforce CPQ offers. But then after that, what if you want to automate, for example, based on their reply, you want to do some action on all these things, something customization that you have to do on top of what CPQ offers.
So we can customize that within CPQ and add custom objects to accept those like quotations.
Correct, correct. You can. So
Okay.
basically, if you've come across approval emails in Salesforce normally,
Mm-hmm.
whenever an approval request or an approval email is sent to the customer, they can just you'll send in that format wherein there would be a hyperlink for approve or reject. When they click on approve, just on that email itself,
Mm-hmm.
it would automatically approve that request in Salesforce.
So
So the same way, uh-huh,
although it is going out of the Salesforce cloud, still
correct,
still
uh,
customer can click on that
correct,
link.
correct, correct, correct. But that is completely out of Salesforce CPQ. It has nothing to do with CPQ. That is
Right.
Salesforce uh, customization. Like what
Oh,
yeah, Salesforce you have to do. You have to create a class and then you have to
right.
link it and then yeah, do the update on the record.
Right. So, but customers are not part of the Salesforce org or so.
Correct, correct. They don't have to be part of Salesforce.
Okay. So there's automation available which we can propose to our client that we can have this feature with customization.
Correct, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, as a basic question, when you are in that Salesforce CPQ, you are in products, right?
Correct.
Can you go to product?
Mm-hmm.
Product list all products. Okay. These products actually created by you, or it's a
No, no. So this
standard?
is when you started training org, right? So this
Yeah.
is a training org that I have. So over here, Salesforce offers some set of products.
So when I create a developer org, it will automatically be there,
Correct,
right?
correct, correct.
Yeah.
But then when your client buys a Salesforce CPQ product, this would be all blank.
Yeah.
You won't have any of these.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Also,
And
yes,
since
it is.
since you have shown I think generated document, right, where you have
Correct.
seen one scenario about a product. So if there is multiple scenarios, we have there will be multiple documents, or only one document will be there.
No, no. You can generate. For example,
Hmm.
if I want to change my code, like I
Hmm.
generated a document, but then I want to add one more product, so I can go back, add that product, generate my document again, and then send that document.
Okay. So for every scenario, there is new document.
No,
Uh,
no, it's up to you how you want to keep it. Like for example,
yeah.
if you do the code and then you thought that okay, there is one more thing I want to amend that code, I can go back, I can amend it, and then I can generate the document again. So there is no restriction on generating the document.
Okay. Okay.
So that product all feature comes only in the training org, not in the developer org.
No, no, it is there in everything. Only the sample data that you see in the system, right? Just the
Right.
data, whatever products
Right.
and accounts and opportunities. This is something provided by Salesforce for the training org.
Okay.
But then whatever features, whatever concept that we did, that is available for all CPQ orgs.
Right. 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 Yeah. That's what data I was asking about. So data is
Correct,
already in the only in the training. Okay.
correct, correct.
Okay.
So in market right now for Salesforce CPQ,
Mhm.
administration certification is required or CPQ configuration certification or like what exactly is the market demand right now?
So yeah, I mean, like if you have a basic Salesforce CPQ certificate, that is good. But then right now there is a advanced certificate called a CPQ specialist. So that is actually something that people prefer after having 1.5 year experience on Salesforce. But then yeah, that is quite in demand right now. But then if you have a basic Salesforce admin CPQ admin certificate, even that is fine. Because end of the day, right now in the market, there is a lot of crunch for a CPQ admin. So even if you have a basic certification, it should be good because they really are in search of CPQ folks.
So in basic certification, understanding of these like product rules, pricing rules, that's what it is required.
Correct, but then those exams won't be direct. It won't be like create a product rule, create a this thing. It will all be scenario-based questions.
Okay.
Like they will give you a scenario, and then I'm just giving an example. Like they will give you a scenario, and they would ask you to select what would be the best option to use, or things like that. So you have to not just understand that what are the features or how to create these things, but when to create these things is the uh, thing that you have to understand.
Okay.
So
So
that
that actually comes after you
MCQ question,
work on. Sorry.
uh, MCQ questions will be there, and I have seen on a trailhead that there are always uh, what we can say a practice playground.
Uh-huh.
So in exam also there will be a playground.
No, no,
We
no.
have
It will
to,
only be MCQs. It will only be MCQs. So that's the tricky part because
yeah.
you have to understand the scenario. You have to imagine that, okay, I will create a product rule. Oh, it won't work. Let me
Mhm.
create another rule. So it's all based on experience. So once you start working on the projects, one to one,
Mhm.
get an idea, and it actually comes in as an instinct that what is the action I have to do based on this requirement. So the MCQ questions are all going to be scenario based requirements, and you have to choose the right option based on that question.
So what is MCQ stands for here?
Multiple choice questions,
Oh, okay,
like
multiple.
yeah, multiple choice questions.
Okay. And when this CPQ was introduced, like 2 years back?
CPQ, I think it came out 5 years back. So
Okay.
Salesforce CPQ is not Salesforce own product. There was a product called as Steelbrick. Uh, so that was bought in by Salesforce, and then it was renamed as Salesforce CPQ.
Okay.
And
So,
Sajil, I mean, along with this Salesforce CPQ, they are asking for Salesforce Lightning, Salesforce Cloud, and Service Cloud. So, what are all these?
Like they're asking for experience or certification.
Experience? Like if we go for a job description of Salesforce CPQ, so
Correct.
they're asking a couple of other things like Salesforce Lightning, Salesforce Cloud, and Service Cloud. What are all these?
Correct. So Salesforce CPQ is a very small box if you have to see Salesforce as a whole. So Salesforce Sales Cloud is the whole sales process. That is, it starts with lead generation and then opportunity, and it goes on. So that is the Sales Cloud part of it, and there are Service Cloud is after sales. For example, I already have a customer, and then there is Service Cloud wherein I raise cases, and all these things come with Service Cloud, wherein after sales, whatever service I provide to the customer, for example, there are tickets raised by the customer that my product is not working, or I need help, I need support. So these things come under Service Cloud, but the sales part of it, you're getting a client, lead generation, and the opportunity creation, and all these things comes under Sales Cloud. And Lightning is nothing but a feature in Salesforce. So this is the Lightning UI in Salesforce. But then before this, before Lightning was introduced, there was a classic view, which was a very standard UI. So in Lightning, what happens is you have a better look and feel, and you can create a lot of these components. Like you create a lot of Lightning components based on the requirements, etc., etc. So that's what Salesforce Lightning does. It gives you good response time as well. because you get to you have JavaScript in it, by which you can have things on the front end itself, by which it saves the time of call to the server, so it becomes more responsive.
So
Okay, so
if I'm
sorry,
sorry, if
continue,
I'm
Vishal.
yeah, if I'm creating a custom object in Lightning versus the classic view, so what is the main difference other than look and feel in creating? Like you mentioned 3 points, like it uses JavaScript and it would be more
No,
faster.
no. So that is for customization. If I have to create a custom component, right?
Right.
Or if I want to create a new page, there it is. It's different. But then otherwise, whatever I create in Classic is also available in Lightning with a different look. That's it.
So it's a different look, right? Whether I
Correct.
work in the classic versus lightning. So because a lot of JDs, as somebody mentioned already, that it asks for like you must have lightning experience. So it is
Correct.
just a look and feel
No,
like
no, 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 no. So that is the standard thing which Salesforce already does. But then the requirement would come in like create a lightning page. Like you have these Visual Force pages, right?
hmm
So now people don't go ahead with Visual Force pages, which is like more HTML, CSS based. They
right.
don't want that. So they want Lightning components, which is like more like Aura based things, wherein you have JavaScript and so many other things. So you have to actually go through a Lightning component to understand, because it is a very vast topic and it is widely used. And there are a lot of projects in the market wherein they're trying to move from Classic to Lightning.
But that will impact only for a person who is like a developer, right? For an analyst, would that matter or
No, no, for a business analyst that doesn't matter. But then he needs to understand how Lightning works, at least.
okay?
Because if a requirement comes in, he has to understand, okay, can this be possible through Lightning, or should I, give other options? So just at the business level, you should know what it does. That's it.
Okay. And one more question, a very high level question, that how would you differentiate implementation consultant versus business analyst for Salesforce?
Okay, so implementation consultant is more of I wouldn't say completely a solution architect, but then somebody who uh, keeps track of what is being implemented and how things are being implemented. Whereas a business analyst is just going to be focused on getting the business requirement to the developer, and without any gaps. That is what a business analyst does. And then he would just suggest at a high level thing, okay, this is what you can use. But then an implementation consultant would be he should be technically strong and he should know all these features first so that he can guide the developers.
Have you involved in requirement illustration, uh, Sajid,
Who, the implementation consultant?
as a business analyst? I mean,
Yeah, yeah. As a business analyst, your main job is to be in that requirement gathering, and
no, I'm
you just
asking, have you involved in requirement gathering? Sure.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I have been. So I work as an architect.
Okay.
So yeah, I work as a solution architect for multiple projects. So yes, requirement gathering is there, but then I don't. What do you say? Work on like completely, but then yeah, I always look at the technical side of it. I don't have to worry much about the business side. For example, these solutions, like what are the tools in the market and what needs to be used. So at that higher level is what I do. And then even in Salesforce CPQ, what are the things, and are we completely using the Salesforce CPQ features? Because Salesforce always suggests you to focus more on out of the box features rather than customizing. So only time you should customize is when it is not offered by Salesforce. So these things are part of best practices. So I keep track of these things, that the developers are using the features, and they're not customizing too much. They're utilizing the right features for a requirement and all these things.
So if
So,
you see, as a technical, there is no coding involved here, right? So it's like we need to configure and we need to know what exactly needs to be custom, configure, right?
Correct. But then
And that
if
is
the
something
requirement
that is
suggests,
considered the development.
correct, that is definitely correct,
Uh,
that it is 80% this configuration, point and click, but then 20% wherein if the requirement suggests for a customization, then you have to write code.
okay. Okay, so when it comes to the configuration, so again, after the, so that we can call it as development, including the coding also. So then again, it goes for the unit testing and testing as well, like
Correct.
normal
It goes
SDLC,
for unit
SDLC
testing.
process.
Yes. No, it's the same process. Even if you put this, if you create the Salesforce configuration or you do the customization, it would go through.
SDLC process.
Yeah, it goes to the SDLC. Yeah.
Okay, how big will be this project? It depends upon the client requirement, right? Like
Yeah.
they
That
have
is
lot.
completely on the requirement. Yes.
And one more thing, you are mentioning that we will be using that ETL process and we'll be getting the data and dumping into Salesforce. So when you say dumping into the Salesforce database, where exactly is it in CPQ or Salesforce has a different?
No,
It's
it's
cloud,
a
right?
normal Salesforce object. But then that was completely an example that I gave. That is not there in every project. One of the scenarios, I was just explaining what a architect does, how he has to understand the requirement and suggest different tools available in the market.
No,
So that
that
is
I
a
understand.
very
What I'm trying to say is there are two scenarios. One is like we are creating a new products in our Salesforce database itself. Another thing is that we are pulling from legacy to Salesforce. So when you're pulling from legacy to Salesforce, in Salesforce, where exactly you are storing? That is what my question.
into product object itself. So it's the same, even if I create manually or if it comes through that ETL or other tools, right? It is going to be created as a new record itself into this product object. So I'm just giving an example. It could be product object, it could be accounts, or it could be some custom object.
So do you need to give a template to that ETL guy? That I need that data in this template. Then only it can be stored. Something like this.
No. So there is something called as a mapping sheet. So he would map the whatever is there in the legacy table, right? He has to map it to the custom object or the standard object, whichever the business wants.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, so this is which lecture? The second lecture of the
Yeah,
course,
this
or
is the second lecture wherein so first one was just an introduction to
yesterday?
CPQ, and then now, no, it was on Friday. And
Okay.
this is where we have started with each and every concept. So today we covered bundles,
Mm-hmm.
and gradually we will go on each and every topic. Like then we will go for product rule, which is a vast topic. Then
Yeah.
we will have search filters, and then we will take up couple of business scenarios. Then we will go to price rules. Like that, it's a vast course. Yeah.
And the timing will be 8 a.m. to.
Yeah, 8 to 9. Mostly it would be 8 to 9, but then yeah, it could change some days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
One more question, last question. So
Hmm.
whatever the Salesforce CPQ objects are available to configure, right?
Correct. Hmm.
And if those objects configuration supports all the requirement, right?
Hmm.
So we don't have to work on the customization of those objects and fields
Not at
or
all.
not at
Not at
all.
all. Not at
That's
all.
and
Yeah.
that's what Salesforce suggests, right? And
Correct. That's the best practice. Yes.
that is the best practice and sellable point of Salesforce currently as featured in market, right? So
Correct.
if
But
we
in
un
every project, there is always 30% customization because
okay,
yeah. But then you try to make the client understand, but then there are some features that they cannot avoid.
right,
So then you do it for them, but then you let them know that okay, this is a customization that we are going to do on top of CPQ.
right. So let's talk about those 70% or 80%, whatever is available right now.
Hmm.
So those are the standard objects available within Salesforce CPQ,
Correct. Everything would be standard objects.
right? And
Right.
if somebody understand those details of standard objects and their
Mhm.
fields and whatever you are explaining as part of training would be
Correct.
sufficient if somebody understand clearly, sufficient to knock out the 60-70% of the requirements understanding from a client for implementation. Is that a
Correct.
kind of correct statement?
I wouldn't say completely correct because in the training you would understand each and every concept for sure, but then
Hmm.
utilization is completely depend on how you take things. For example, how you understand the requirement well and how much you practice. These two things matter a
Sure,
lot.
sure. Yeah, but availability here on the Salesforce CPQ cloud, whatever is given is that 60-70%, which will capture the requirements for implementation.
Correct, correct, definitely. Yes.
If we understand how to handle that, it will allow us to give that solution.
Correct, exactly.
Okay, okay, yeah. All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, so what I would suggest is you just try and create that org. You can go to Trailhead, create this training org, and try these things out because after 5 days, if you've not tried this, you won't actually remember. So this is what I have experienced in every batch. So I would actually suggest you to try it out, and then you can ask me questions if you have any.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks a lot, Sajil.
Sure, man. Sure. Bye.
Bye.